The Mamamoo podcast is supported by We Are Mamas, a Spanish brand created by mums for mums. And it's in Cyprus because the female founder behind Wiggle wanted to offer the options to mums on the island, something she didn't have during her pregnancy experience. Motherhood isn't always the picture-perfect version we see on social media. We all know that. And so many mums find themselves thinking, why didn't anyone tell me about this? The postpartum period can be exhausting, overwhelming, and emotionally challenging. And that's where We Are Mamas steps in. Their SOS postpartum kits are designed to make those first few days a little bit easier with everything you need for comfort and care. They also offer thoughtful products like the hot and cold clay pad, super comfortable postpartum pants and pads, and massage oils, and a C-section roller to support scar recovery and gentle self-care. Everything is created to support you through pregnancy and beyond, making your postpartum journey a little more manageable and a little more comfortable. You can find We Are Mamas exclusively at Wiggle. Hello, I am Eleni and this is the Mamamoo podcast. A podcast that, dare I say, stands out from the rest because my focus is and always has been to change the main narrative we've been living with here in Cyprus, to challenge the status quo and attempt to create a new fresh start away from hate and division because I believe we owe it to our kids and to future generations. My guest today is Balman, a Cypriot filmmaker and the creator of over 10 documentaries and short films that attempt to create bridges between past and future and initiate a healing process in a post-conflict area. Today, we are focusing on her 2021 documentary, Beyond History Education, a film that triggered so many memories for me from my time as a kid and a student in the public education system here in Cyprus. I watched it and became more passionate than ever about creating a new world where my children won't have to deal with the effects of nationalist propaganda. The documentary focuses on interviewees on both sides who share and confront their experiences with one-sided narratives and historical distortions in the education systems. It's truly fascinating to watch so many of our experiences being explained and how we now understand how it affected our bicommunal relations, leaving very little space for empathy and peace. The powerful tool, which is the education system, helped form our opinions and lives, creating more fears and more trauma. I reckon it's up to us to change that. Remember, you can email me at eleni@georgiesmummy.com. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook under the username Georgie's Mummy. You can support the show by subscribing on Patreon for as little as €2 a month. And of course, you can like, follow, and share to help us reach more people. Now, on with Miner, on with the show. Okay, all right. So, Minemo, welcome to the studio.
So we're recording now.
We're recording now, yes.
Okay.
It's a pleasure to have you here. I watched the documentary yesterday, and as I told you over the phone, it finished and I burst into tears. I had one of the first questions that I wanted to focus on was, why did you choose to focus on education in this documentary? Because we quite a few documentaries have come out focusing on either the problem or the invasion or the struggle or the cultural differences. But the education part of it is very, very interesting. And you managed to showcase a lot of what we have all experienced living in Cyprus and being in the education system. So what was it that created that interest in you to focus on education?
Yes. First of all, thanks for the invitation. It's really nice being here. This question has kind of two levels of answers. So,
Okay.
And both are personal. The first one is that actually I like observing people. And between 2006 and 2020, I was working at the Committee on Missing Persons. So there we were a group of young people who were born after 1974, and we were working bicommunally. So, of course, everyone was raised after the division without knowing each other, and were educated in two different education systems on either side of the divide. And for me, the daily problems, daily struggles to see how people don't really feel comfortable sometimes, or the trust issues. And when we dig them, like when we're speaking about these problems, actually I could see that it's all coming from the education system. Okay. So this was always embedded in my mind that we have a problematic education system on both sides. The second part of my answer is that, of course, I was born in Cyprus and educated in the north side of the divide, and I know how the education system was there. And I always feel that they tried to scare me while I was growing up at the schools and traumatize me and my friends. So this is one of the things, and I have two kids, and in order to let's say protect them from those nationalistic and those propaganda materials from the education system, we decided to send them to a private school in the southern part of the divide, so that they will not receive any kind of nationalistic education. And in order to have this, of course, they're crossing the divide every day. And we didn't have much issues until one day when my little one was 5 years old. He came home with a piece of paper, and he was so happy that one of his friends drew him a picture and gave as a present. And he wanted to put it on his wall. And I was like, okay, in this digital age, still kids are drawing pictures to each other. So, nice idea. I wanted to see the drawing. So when I took the paper, I was shocked. On the paper, there are lots of men. On the left side, they were all drawn with blue pencil, and they were carrying a flag, a blue flag with a cross. And on the right side, the men were all drawn with red pencil, and they were carrying a flag with a crescent. And they were all holding swords, and blood spilling out of the swords. And on the ground, there was a huge pool of blood. And I was like, what is this? Because I wasn't sure if he understood what it really is.
I get your confusion as a parent, yes.
Yeah, yes. And he said, oh, he knows that I like pirates, so he drew me a picture of pirates. I was like, okay. he didn't understand what it is. That's the good bit.
Okay.
But that drawing stuck in my mind, and I kept on thinking about it afterwards because I didn't feel anger. I feel upset because how come a 5-year-old boy was educated in a way that he felt the need to draw such a drawing and gave to a Turkish Cypriot, let's say, classmate. So while I was thinking about this, the background feeling, the thoughts about the boy, I remember that I was like him. And until that moment, if you ask me, I wouldn't remember it. But it triggered the memory that I was drawing for those national competitions at the primary school. The war, the soldiers, the Turkish soldiers with tanks, the dead bodies on the ground. And they were sending our drawings to the national competitions. I was like him. And I said, oh my God, nothing changed in like 30, 35 years in Cyprus. And it doesn't matter which side of the divide you are being educated. The children are still getting same type of education.
Yeah.
And this is creating an intergenerational trauma because although ourselves or our children have never faced any conflict or war, we carry that burden, we carry that trauma as part of our lives.
But you did mention, well, first of all, I'm just curious, was this a friend of his?
Yes.
They were friends?
Yes, they were friends.
They're
still friends. Yes.
So you could interpret it as the kid didn't really realize that he was doing anything wrong?
Most probably, yes. Because in their Greek classes, they separate.
My next question was, because I do have a question here about Turkish-speaking kids being educated in the South in private schools, because my kids go to a private school as well, and they have Turkish Cypriot friends. So my question is, do you think that drawing initiated from the private school or from the family?
Since we are not Greek-speaking family, at the Greek lessons, the class separates. So
you have the beginners and the...
Greek as a foreign language class.
Okay.
So my son goes to Greek as a foreign language class, which is the basics of the language. But the ones who go to the, let's say, the original Greek class, the curriculum comes from the Ministry of Education. And of course, they learn the history.
Okay.
The Cyprus history, the Greek history, the national days. So there comes the information, actually.
Yeah. But don't you also think that family and society has a lot to do with this?
Most probably, yes. Because the families also have, let's say, personal stories that they carry on the next generations. And the politicians are a good source of this. They always
reproduce.
Exactly. For their political benefits, of course. So, of course, the younger generations expose these information from different sources, but I think the main part of it is the education.
Yeah.
Because in the documentary, I use the real-time examples, the videos or photographs from the schools, and they are the recent years. I mean, those role playings. I mean, for the children who are not really experience any displacement, they were put into the tents, or let's say how they have to escape in the morning of 74. These role playings, or let's say Greek Cypriots are coming, and those type of role playings, Eoka is coming. So on both sides, those role playings are affecting them because they have to put themselves on that position and feel that fear, feel that emotions as if they're experiencing them. I think, or hearing those stories from the people, let's say, who were taken as prisoners. Those people are brought to schools by the teachers, and actually it's not age appropriate to tell those stories with that openness, with that way to the children.
Yeah. Someone might say, someone who is bad-faced, let's say, that this is their way of never forgetting, because we also have the slogan, Denk zich no.
Yeah.
On your side, you have a different slogan.
Yes.
Never again. Yeah, so...
Which is shaped on forgetting, like forgetting the past.
Oh, yeah, please elaborate on that. You're right.
Yeah, so one side is actually build up the whole ideology on do not forget. But the other side is forget the past, forget whatever happened before 74, and we will have a new future. And actually, that difference is really felt during the daily reactions, reflexes of people.
Yeah. So, yeah, someone might say that we don't want our kids to forget the hardships that we went through. There's a difference between reminding kids of hardships, and there's a difference between reproducing violence that has occurred.
I think that's the nuance there. So we are not saying that the history should not be taught to the younger generations. It's important to teach them history and what happened, and it's important in a way that they should know, so that the history will not repeat itself. Okay. We will not have any conflict. We will not have any wars again. We have to learn from the past. So with that perspective, the history should be taught. But you cannot teach history by, let's say, giving examples about the violence to the children, or showing the pictures. This is mainly, this was done in the northern part of the divide. So they were showing us those bodies with, let's say, wounds or dead bodies, or they were taking us, and until 2004, I think, they were taking kids to the Museum of Barbarism.
So I've heard about the Museum of Barbarism. I learned about that about 5 years ago. I didn't really know. Could you talk a bit about that? And you also said that they're not doing that anymore.
Yeah, they're not doing
They're not doing that. So if you could please explain to us what the Museum of Barbarism is, and who stopped it? Who intervened and put a stop to this?
Yes, so Museum of Barbarism was opened, I think, around 1966 or 67 as a museum.
Also before the invasion. Okay.
Yes. So and since then they were taking school children to that museum, because that event happened in 1963. Let me put this way, until 2004, they were taking children to that museum when Mr. Mehmet Ali Talat was the Minister of Education. Actually, he made a reform in the education system. So the progressive teachers were working on the history books. They rewrite the history books. There were no Cyprus geography. There were no Cyprus literature. So they rewrite those books. They created those books, which are still on board. So it was a time that Annan Plan came afterwards, so there was a positive political environment in the among the Turkish Cypriot community. So that's how the change started, and that's how that visits stopped, because the community started thinking and discussing and criticizing about the education system, and the new things were also welcomed by the community, and that's how those reactions actually were accepted by the authorities, and they stopped those visits.
Okay. And this museum, I mean, even the name says it, Museum of Barbarism.
Yes.
What I've heard about it and the things that are on display.
I mean, of course, they're not appropriate for the children, but they're not appropriate for anyone.
I was going to say, I think that just sounds like a horror film.
Yeah, because it's naked violence. Okay, that happened. We're not saying that it didn't happen. But showing that way is not okay. I was at the age of 6 when I was taken there.
So you were taken there. Do you
Yes.
remember?
Of course.
6? Sorry, 6?
Yes. Look, I always say that my life changed the day I visited that museum. Although they were trying to impose some kind of ideology, I think it backlashed on me. But I remember that I couldn't sleep for nights. I was thinking that EOKA will be coming and killing my family. And actually, it was the year that my sister was born, and we had a baby at home. So, and the baby and my parents were in the same bedroom, and I was in the other room. So there were lots of things that I was, let's say, thinking in my mind.
Yeah.
But a child shouldn't think all those.
Yeah.
So it's heavy. It's too much. I was lucky that my father was speaking to me afterwards, and he was never speaking negatively about the Greek Cypriot community, and actually was assuring me that EOKA is not coming to kill our family. But you see, some children might not be lucky enough to have such parents, or maybe some of the parents are not even aware of this.
Yeah. Yeah, that was one of the reasons why I kept mentioning in the beginning family as well, because, you know, as parents, as mothers, both of us, we're fully aware of the messages that our kids are getting. And whether it's, you know, politics or culture or something as simple as their friendships or whatever it is, we know that if we're not there to sort of like balance the situation, give a different argument, guide them, it's so easy for them to get lost.
Yes. In that age, I think they accept what they hear. They don't really question, because especially the people whom they trust, like the teacher or the parents, tell them, they accept this.
Yeah.
So that's why it's important what we say to our children, or even the family stories. I mean, in Cyprus, we all experienced negative things in the past. The way we pass this to our children is also important.
Yeah.
I mean, we can say lots of emotional stuff, but we should be considering that they will be affected on this.
Yeah. Minemo, do you feel that our kids, their generation, are growing up differently to the way that we grew up? First, due to a different education system, but also due to the fact that, you know, we now know what lives on the other side, because this is a very prominent part of the story in your documentary. And it's one that just will never cease to amaze me, how we thought that monsters lived on the other side, and you thought that monsters lived here as well. So our kids do not experience that anymore. So how do you feel that it's different, and what could the potential be?
So after 2003, when the crossings were initiated, I think things started to change. So even if the children don't have any friends from the other community, they can see people from other community on the streets, in the market, or in their schools. So it's changing. Also, now we have the social media. So when we were kids, we were
Isolated.
in our bubble.
Yeah.
Yes, it's only our community. But now the children can watch videos that were produced by people from other countries. They can follow more stuff from the world. So they're more world citizens. So this actually changed things a little bit in their lives. But unfortunately, the education systems haven't changed on both sides. So they still receive the same type of information. And these information are not written in the books, but they were all the narratives that comes from the teachers.
Yeah. It has, I mean, I know that on our side, I mean, my kids go to private school, but I've heard that in public schools, yes, you are right, not a lot has changed. What about over in the north? Have things changed when it comes to apart from the changes that Talat had made?
Yes, so basically, when Talat made those changes, it lasted until 2009. And they revised the history books when the government changed. And Talat became the Turkish Cypriot leader of the community. But things are better, of course, not worse as 2004, because those discussions among the community, they're permanent. So people discussed things. There was a confrontation with the narratives of the politicians, narratives that were tried to impose to the community. So people became aware of things. And of course, that created a permanent awareness.
Yeah.
But I can't say that it's fully changed. So, of course, since I mentioned that it's narrative of teachers, it's still there.
It's still there, yeah. So, I mean, getting the opportunity to get an education over here in the South for you, when did that start? Do we know when that started?
Yes, right after 2003.
It was after 2003?
Yes.
Immediately after?
Immediately. So the crossings started in April 2003, and I think in the next academic year in September, the first group of students started.
So we already have people who have been fully educated in the private system over here in the north. So things culturally are changing over there when it comes to beliefs and that a lot of people after 1974 have.
Yes. So there are people who already graduated. My twin cousins are graduates of the English school, and they were the first group whom started right after the crossings. But unfortunately, that's the problem with the leaders, authorities.
Okay.
So they started accepting students, but they think that accepting students is the, let's say, final step. No, there should be a continuous work for the adaptation, because when the Greek Cypriot students immediately, right after those education system and all those beliefs, when they have the Turkish Cypriot students in the school, of course, they had let's say difficulties in accepting this.
Okay.
And this created conflicts within the school.
Were they considered like traitors or something? What was the...
No, what I'm trying to say is that when Turkish Cypriot students came from that education system from the north, and the Greek Cypriot students see that now they have Turkish Cypriot students in their school, that created conflict. I mean, these were on the media, like there were physical attacks as well. So actually, that example was a good case study.
Okay.
How we need reconciliation before the political settlement. Because if we have political settlement, let's say today, we cannot expect people to welcome each other as if nothing happened and as if they can change in one day. So we need proper, let's say, mechanisms for every generation. I mean,
because we are talking about, Emma, we are talking about intergenerational trauma here.
Yes, exactly.
That has never been addressed.
Yes, so that's why we need those mechanisms now. I mean, we need them from yesterday. But okay, from now, and of course after the political settlement as well. And we all need this. All layers of the community. Yeah,
you talked to, I'm going to come back to education, but you did talk about the missing persons and that you were on the committee as well. It again, it will never cease to amaze me that we had no idea that Turkish Cypriots were also missing people from their community. Did you know about our missing persons?
This was never taught at the schools, but I knew them from my family.
Okay.
That there were Greek Cypriot missing people as well. And I feel lucky that I contributed the work of Committee on Missing Persons for almost 14, 15 years.
Wow.
Yes, because that's how you really understand what conflict, what war is. And that's how it shaped my identity, actually, because I was working closely with the relatives of the missing people from both sides, from both communities. And the way they were actually explaining, describing their experiences and observing their pain, that ongoing pain, I know why we need peace. And I know why we have to work for peace and peace building and reconciliation. And I was deeply convinced for this. So that's why it shaped my...
And I can imagine as well that, you know, once you really understand that grieving the loss of a person doesn't really matter where on earth you are.
Yes.
That both communities were experiencing tremendous loss.
Yes.
And they were both experiencing it the same way.
Yes, and also these people were not treated well by the politicians on both sides. So their pain was not, let's say, happened the day that had a missing person, but it continued over the years. And they never received proper psychosocial support on both sides. So yes.
Yeah. So when it comes to the education system, I mean, we have on our side, we have a lot of British influence as well when it comes to our education. How about on your side? And was there any recognition that the Greek Cypriot community was getting influenced by something foreign that wasn't Cypriot?
I think that influence was in place before 74
Yes.
within the community. But after 74, the education system was mainly shaped by the Turkish authorities, by Turkey. The books were brought from Turkey and the curriculum as well. So I think we lost it. And in order to make the education system parallel, they cut 1 year off from the primary school. So the primary school was not 6 years anymore, and still it's 5. Because in Turkey it was 5.
Wow.
So they made such big changes to make them parallel.
Yeah. Cutting out a whole year.
Yes, I was graduated at the age of 10, for example, from the primary school,
And
from
that
the 5th year.
still applies today.
Yes, so I went to UK for my university studies when I was 17.
I was going to say you were 16 or 17
Yes,
then.
I just turned to 17 and I went there and they were like, where's your guardian?
Yeah.
Because you're a minor.
Studying. I'd like to talk about that part of the documentary because, I mean, it reminded me of, I think it was like this. I was born in England, so I wasn't born in Cyprus. My yaya and bapo left before 1974. They left in 1960. They were on their way to Australia, but they decided to stop off in England. So that's where my mum met my dad. That's where I was born. So I went back to study after getting a public education here in Cyprus. And I remember it was maybe the second or third night I was there, and I said to someone, you know, I'm from Cyprus. And the question was, which side? And I remember, Mine, I felt offended. I was like, what do you mean, what side? There is only one side. And, you know, the look on their face, obviously, you know, being out of this whole creation that we've got going on here, you know, looking at me like, what are you talking about? So seeing the people that you interviewed, who many of them are roughly our generation, 1980, 1990, there was like a light switch moment when they went to study abroad. Can you talk a bit about your experience and interviewing the people that you did when it came to leaving this little bubble of ours and going out?
Yes, actually, I chose it intentionally to mention about this in the documentary because it's a period that happened only in those years. So
yeah, you're right.
We were grown up without seeing any person from the other community. And we were all educated within those education system. And then suddenly we traveled abroad for university studies. And here we are, someone from the other community.
Face to face.
Yes, and how we react.
Yeah.
So I actually, it's a good example of how we deal what we have been educated in real life.
Exactly.
So that's why I wanted to record those examples from people.
Did you have an experience?
Yes.
What was your experience?
It wasn't positive at all.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
And I went to a university where which was really popular among the Greek Cypriot community, and in Greece. So it was called Little Greece as well among the people. We have lots of Greek Cypriots. And initially I was like, yes, I will have friends at the end. I was so positive because that's how, as I mentioned, the education system kind of had a backlash on me.
Yeah.
So I was positive to welcome new friends from the Greek Cypriot community, but it wasn't welcomed in the same level. And that's how I started to understand, because I wasn't taking it personally. the person doesn't know about me. But those reactions, those negative things that I was actually hearing or seeing, those mimics, made me think that yes, this person couldn't really handle that pain from the past, or whatever taught in the history. Because sometimes we were talking about the things and they were only mentioning about what they experienced. But yeah, we also experienced things and they were not aware of that. So that's why I started not taking things personally, one thing. And secondly, I realized that communication and dialogue is important and it's lacking. That was the missing thing.
Yeah. Do you feel that there is still that lacking, even 20 years after that?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah,
it's still.
I see it as well.
That's I will say two things.
But it's almost I was going to say it's almost like a refusal. There are just some people who just refuse to acknowledge. I mean, the latest conversation that I had with someone within my family, I think it was after you guys did the demonstration about the head covering.
Yeah.
And we were looking at those pictures and those videos, and the first thing that struck all of us was that there were no Turkish flags. And I was having a conversation with a family member over Christmas, and we were talking, and I said this, and they said that no way, of course there were Turkish flags. And I was like, no, guys, please, there are pictures and there are videos, you can go and see them, and there are no Turkish flags. It's almost like there was a refusal to understand that that there is some progress. So there is still a lack, obviously. But what do you see? What do you feel?
I can give two examples because it emotionally affected me, touched me. In the documentary, there was one story about Meral and Alexia. They met at the university, and they were really close friends. And when they graduated and came back to Cyprus, Meral invited her to go to Kyrenia and go to a fish restaurant. And although they have that bonding for many years, Alexia said she cannot. She cannot cross, she cannot go. At the end of the day, they went. But when Alexia saw the Kyrenia harbor in front of her eyes, she started crying. So, yes, that's the part of do not forget. So it's not just that slogan. How they tell the children not to forget for many years, and showing those photos of Kyrenia Harbor, let's say
which we have on our
books.
school books.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's how emotionally triggers a child who have nothing to do with Kyrenia Harbor.
Yeah.
So actually, this is one thing that I want to mention. I will come back to this later. I think now, after the crossings, there are some people who still refuse to cross and see the other side, because they feel like in 1974, someone just pressed the pause button, and someone will come and unpause it, and we will go back to 1974 and have our lives as if nothing changed. But that's not realistic. And I could feel this from many people, that's how they really believe on this. Of course, I have lots of friends, and when I invite them to cross, because I'm seeing that they're traveling all around the world, and I invite them their children to, let's say, go to the northern part, because I believe Cyprus as a whole is my country. So I had this assumption that Cyprus as a whole is their country, and they have to travel, they have to know, because if they don't, if you cannot travel and you cannot go and see, you cannot, let's say, collect memories, how come you will love it? How come you know it, learn it? And the responses were always negative. Let's say Apostolos Andreas Monastery in the Carpathia is important for me. And as family, once or twice a year we visit there. And I had some friends who have Andreas or Andrea, the children. And I will say that let's take them to the monastery because it's their name and it will be meaningful. I mean, for me, it's meaningful. For you, it should be definitely meaningful. And no, they're not positive about this. And I really think like this is not okay. Because I understand that there are political sensitivities and I fully respect them because that's how the political views of people are shaped. But when it comes to the younger generation, you just cannot leave children alone themselves and tell them that do not forget. But what will they not forget? They never saw.
They've never known.
See these places. They don't have memories. So, this is not actually helping. Alexia's example there in Kyrenia Harbor and what we are experiencing even after the crossings open show that it's really a continuous thing.
And the thing is that, you know, what I'm trying to think of what Alexia was experiencing or what the family with an Andrea in their family who could very well go. Because the thing is that you can go. You couldn't before. Now you can. And that doesn't really seem to matter all that much to some people. But the point is that both Alexia and that family obviously have a lot of pain inside of them, but also fear. And I feel that, and where I'm trying to go with this is towards the more nationalistic aspect of what we're experiencing now in politics, not just in Cyprus, but all over. Nationalism, propaganda, it all stems from fear. Fear that this is going to happen again. Fear that the Turk is going to kill me, that the Greek is going to kill me. And it always starts from that dark place. It never goes under. It never goes in. It never wonders why. And the reason I feel that finishing your documentary, why I burst into tears, was the main thing that was going in my head right that moment was why? Why? Why did we have to go through this? And why are we continuing to put ourselves in this spot? We're not wondering why this happened. We're not wondering, why am I afraid? And that is a lot of the time something that we as parents raising the next generation have to do. And that is to ask our kids questions, not only allow them to ask us. And you should always be open to questioning from your kids. Even if you don't know the answer, it's fine to say, I don't know. I'll think about it. I'll look it up and I'll come back to you. But you should always be open to questions. And I feel that a lot of the time we are told not to ask questions.
Yes. Actually, since our education systems are not built in a way to encourage critical thinking,
Exactly.
I think that's embedded within the communities as well.
Yeah.
So we don't really like people who ask too many questions.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, it's like, you know, there's the Museum of Barbarism, okay? We know other things that have happened, horrible, violent situations. And it's like, why aren't we asking why? Who was to blame for this? It wasn't, as you said in the documentary, or someone said in the documentary, one fine day, all of a sudden, you know, the Turkish army decided to invade and take Cyprus, and that was it.
Yeah.
There's no questioning that we don't. I mean, you know, we say this a lot, and I know that a lot of, I think Fivias said it as well. We don't know half of our history. You know, I disagree with him on a lot of things, probably 99.9% of what he says and does. But he was right about that, and that is something that we've always felt in our bones, that we don't know why, we don't know our history. So it's up to us parents, do you think? Is it up to social media maybe? Those questions need to start being answered, Mine. They really, really do.
Yes,
And where I wanted to put the nationalism in, even though over the phone yesterday you said nationalism isn't a bad thing, and I said, yes, you're right, it isn't. It's the ethnocentric part of the conversation. Yeah, sorry, I spoke too long.
No.
Threw too much at you.
Let's start with fear. So I think we feel fear from the things that we don't know. So that fear part, actually, it was introduced to us by the politicians, by the family stories, and by the education system. And we didn't have enough, let's say, opportunity to experience and learn. So we accepted that fear. That's why if we have opportunities to create dialogues among the communities, common newspapers, so that we read about each other, we learn each other. This kind of podcasts, or TV programs, social media domains. So it will help a lot. Secondly, I think everything in Cyprus, we are all confused coming to the nationalism part. Some people consider themselves Greek, some consider themselves Turkish, some Greek Cypriot, some Turkish Cypriot, some Cypriot, some Greek-speaking Cypriot, Turkish-speaking Cypriot. So we
European, you forgot European.
Yeah, yes. So
Middle Eastern.
Yeah. So people define themselves with different nationalities.
Yeah.
And this is not bad. This is okay. And we have to respect those differences. But I am separating this from the nationalism embedded in the education system, because it is something ideological, and it is not helping at all for the future of Cyprus. Because if we want a reunification, if we want people to live peacefully, not to fear from each other, not to experience any conflicts in the future, then we should stop separating people based on their, let's say, national identities or religions, or the language they're speaking. We are all living on the small island, same island, and
which we all love.
And which we all love, and which we will continue with living here. So we should start finding the common things that can bring us together, and leave the things that could separate us.
Yeah.
That's why nationalism is used by the politicians, and it's embedded in the education system, and it's dangerous. It's not dangerous for our lives, it's not threatening our lives, but it's threatening our common future.
Our future.
Yes.
How can there be a future? And, a lot of the time with the rhetoric that comes from the far right, I mean, on our side, we have Elam, which you probably know.
Yes.
On your side, you have?
We had grey wolves in the past,
Yeah.
but they are not active anymore. We have a political party now, YDP.
Okay.
And they are the ones who are making, let's say, the statements could be considered racist or
divisive,
ultra nationalist, divisive.
Yeah.
Even they're dividing the Turkish, the people living in the north as Turkish people and the Cypriots,
Wow.
like the Turkish Cypriots.
Yeah.
So even
And that was the point that I was trying to get to. That most of the times when you notice these groups, these ideologies, they're not just separating us from something foreign. They're separating us between us. So, with Elam, we have the problem. I mean, they keep going on and on and on about, the left wing and the lefties and the left wing here, especially here on our side, it's like almost non-existent. Like they're not doing anything. But so, and as you said over on your side, the Turks from the Cypriots. So they are sowing division within our communities. So what I fail to understand a lot of the time, because I find myself quite fascinated with the way that the far right works generally, not just here. And I kind of see like a bit of a cult mentality going on as well. Is that how are they supposed to support a healthy future when they're saying that there are enemies within? It baffles me. Yes. Honestly, it shocks me. So if these groups, these political parties, if they come into power, they're not just going to get rid of the immigrants. And
no.
I think I remember one of the members of Elam on a podcast a couple of years ago saying that one of the things that they want is to get rid of anyone that was born after 1974. You've heard this?
No.
Oh.
I heard different things.
Okay. No, I literally...
as worse as this.
I heard those words coming out of his mouth and I was, again, shocked. I don't know why I find myself shocked all the time. But yeah, so, they're not only creating this isolation that, it's us, Cyprus, and them, something else. It's amongst us as well. And, it's bad enough that we've had this division for so many years, this hatred for so many years, this trauma. We are literally a traumatized people. Now, unfortunately, we have these ideologies that are gaining ground, and I fear. I really do. I fear quite a lot. I don't know how you feel about that.
Yes, it's problematic.
Yeah.
Actually, I think it's problematic how to think that way.
Yeah.
I mean, we mentioned that with the new digital age, with the social media, actually, we feel more accessible. We have more accessible to the world.
To the world, yeah.
To the other people living in different areas of the world and what they are doing. We have opportunities to learn more. That's why we can, let's say, meet with new people, have friendships that was like, let's say, 30, 40 years ago. It's impossible, let's say, to find someone to speak from Mexico.
Yeah.
I mean, writing letters.
Pen pals, do you remember that?
Yes, I remember. I had one.
I had one as well.
Yeah. So, but now it's just a few minutes thing that finding and texting someone. So we are more uniting, but on the other side, this ideology is growing and finding ground. That they're dividing people. They are not accepting differences. They're totally trying to create one unified identity and thinking. They're not open to those different colors of human beings. That's actually make us human.
Yeah.
And yes, it's dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, I mean, we are a diverse world with differences, and that's how we should be loving each other. I have a work on the Armenian Cypriots that was out in 2017.
Okay.
And that's why I'm close to the Armenian Cypriot community. And I heard one Elam member in Larnaca speaking, having hate speech towards the Armenian Cypriots. And these people are here. I mean, we are living together. They're part of our Cypriot community.
They pay taxes, social insurance.
Yes, and they're also Cypriots.
Yes.
I mean, and yes, and there were like these Elam people who were actually physically attacking to young Armenians in Larnaca.
Yeah.
So that's what.
And we do have a lot of physical.
So it's not only migrants. That's why I'm saying that they don't have any tolerance to people who are different than them.
Yeah.
And this is not okay.
Yeah.
Because we are all different in any way.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't create one simple thing.
And, Minemo, talking about, ultranationalism and education and parenting. You're raising 2 boys. I'm raising 3 boys. I think just as well as I do that boys can fall prey and victim to such ideologies. There's a tendency there. I don't know. I don't think it's biological. But we do see it happening, and it's happened before in the past. So even though I don't want to finish on a negative note. So let's try and see, we're raising the future generation. We're raising boys that are either going to be pulled into an army and told to kill and be killed, or we're raising peacemakers and change makers and, movers and shakers. So do you have a little bit of inspiration to to sprinkle on us parents, because I do have a lot of parents who listen to the podcast, on ways that we can, roads that we can be paving to create a different future?
Yes, actually, I am hopeful, but it's a huge duty on the parents.
Unfortunately.
Yes.
Unfortunately.
Because as we mentioned different aspects, none of the institutions, I'm talking on both sides.
On both sides.
Yes.
None of them are helping.
They're not helping. And on contrary, they're feeding in a negative way. So we have one responsibility to raise our children to be the change makers, to question what they learn and what they hear, and also the ones who will build peace and sustain peaceful life on this island. But also we have other responsibility, unfortunately, that we have to protect our children from those negative things, because it's not only what you, let's say, guide them. You have to be extra observant what they are exposed to, and try to show them the different aspects. And it's tiring. I find it quite tiring.
It is. That's why I said unfortunately, because it's not enough that we've got to worry about everything else that comes with raising kids. We, especially here in Cyprus, also have that extra level to deal with.
Yes. For example, this is my personal example. When my son started going to the school on the southern part of the divide, the first days he wasn't welcomed to his class, and the kids were making a circle around him, and they were telling him that you are coming from Turkey, and for him it's kind of an insult, because of course for the community we are living in, we're Cypriots. So when someone tells us that you are Turkish, no, we are not.
Yes.
No. So he was like, no, I'm not Turkish, I am Cypriot. And they were like, no, you are coming from Turkey. And then that argument continued, and at one point he was like, you are all stupid, how can I am traveling from Turkey every day to come to school, like 1.5 hours, and it's not possible.
Bless.
And then I have to sit down and explain him that what they meant about you are coming from Turkey is that they see the area beyond the green line as Turkish land. So they see it as Turkey. That's why they are calling you are Turkish and you are coming from Turkey, because they don't really consider that there are Turkish Cypriots. There are Cypriots who are speaking Turkish language, or Turkish Cypriots, living on the other side of the divide. So you shouldn't get angry with them, but you should explain them this. So we had to have...
And again, unfortunately, it falls upon kids like your son to have to explain
Exactly.
something that should have been explained to those kids by their parents. So you're doing the work for them.
Plus, I had to sit down and tell about the Cyprus history to my son at the very young age, but not like Cyprus history that was taught in the north. What both sides actually, the narratives on the both sides, so that when he is exposed to anything, he should be seeing that it's not personal.
Yeah.
And it's the narrative that is coming from the, let's say, Greek Cypriots' main official narrative.
Yeah.
So he shouldn't get involved in unnecessary conflicts and discussions.
Yeah. But also, Minemo, knowledge is power.
Yes, definitely.
And the more knowledge we give our kids, and the more nuanced we talk about these things, we made mistakes, you made mistakes. You as a child will make a mistake. The other person will make a mistake, whatever the context is. But giving them the knowledge makes them powerful. It gives them an upper hand, and it's our duty, because obviously the people whose duty it should be, aka the education system, isn't doing it. But that doesn't mean that we must just drop everything. We, unfortunately, we have that extra added layer of responsibility.
Yes.
And we're going to do it.
Yes, we will.
Minemo, your documentary is available to watch on YouTube.
Not yet.
Oh, it's not?
No, not yet.
Oh, I got to see it?
Yes, it's a private link that I will share with you.
But can people see it?
Yes, actually, we're planning to have more
screenings.
Yes.
Okay.
So The screenings actually never stopped. But we are doing this with invitation. So if someone wants to have even a small group host screening.
Okay. Have you managed to get into any schools?
No. No. And I wanted to have a bicommunal screening with the teachers' unions, and it never happened. It couldn't be organized. I only had the opportunity to have a screening at the secondary school teachers' union in the north.
Okay.
And that's it.
What about like university level?
Yes. We had a screening at the University of Cyprus twice, and one in Arukat University in the north.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So if there will be any screenings, is there a website that I can put in the show notes or somewhere where people can...
If people can contact me via Facebook. We have Facebook page and Instagram.
Okay, I'll put that in the show notes so people
yes.
can find that.
Yes, and if they want to watch it like together, yes.
You can. That can be arranged.
Of course.
Okay, excellent. All right. Thank you so much, Mine.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for making that documentary as well. And I wish that you will have the patience, strength, time, energy, and money to keep creating.
Thank you. Thanks for your kind words, and also helping this topic to be spread around, because education is really crucial.
It's everything.
So yeah, if more people are more, let's say, think about this, then we can start the change.
Thank you so much. Bye.